This is Podcast of the Beholder, a podcast about everything Metallica, album reviews, merchandise, news, rumors, and everything else. If you're a Metallica fan or just a metalhead, join our groups on social media at YouTube and Facebook at Podcast of the Beholder. Welcome to Podcast of the Beholder. I am Bill, and this is my good friend and co-host Chuck. How you doing today, brother?
Bill, it's a good day, buddy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I wanted to give a quick shout out. I want to thank a good friend of mine, Robert Branch, for creating that opening intro for us. I sent him a voice thing, and he did all the graphics and everything. And I just want to say I appreciate that, Robert. I know you'll be watching because you've supported the channel since it started, and I just want to say thank you, man, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. He sent me that when it was first ready, and it's very cool. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So
this is the part 2 of the.
So here we go. Go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just gonna say this is part 2 of the load review here, but we'll we got some cool stuff we want to show off right quick, and then we'll actually get into it and stuff.
Yeah, I'll go first. I know on the last episode I said that I was going to wait for the box set to get load on vinyl, and here it is. I got a really good deal on it, and I got three CDs from actually the Metallica store. I got the Helping Hands 2020. That was the one that's half acoustic and half electric. That's the only show that they did in 2020. That's the one that they did for online. And I know you have this on DVD, and I got it on CD. I got the 40th anniversary both nights.
Nice.
They have a bundle deal, and the set list on these 2 nights are just amazing. Wasting My Hate, Am I Evil, No Leaf Clover, Orion, and Fixer was probably the main reason why I bought it. So I got those. So that's very cool.
Nice. Yeah, I've been waiting.
What's new to your collection?
Well, I'll show you. I just want to say I want to pick those up too. I want to get the audio versions of that, but I've just been kind of stalling lately, and hopefully maybe tax season I might be able to grab them or whatever. But for those of you who don't know, I am a member of the Metallica Vinyl Club, and they kicked off year 2 here, right? Just about a week or so ago. And this is the first release. It is Blackened 2020. Now, this is the one they did where they went online and each one of them played from like their home or whatever it is, and they showed it on the internet. So the first side A is just Blackened, that song, and then the second side 2 is Blackened 2020 live at that the one you just showed there, the Helping Hand show, and right. Wood, which is a cover that they did acoustically for the Alice in Chains Mopop Founders Award honoring Alice in Chains. But then if you see the front here, then this is what it looks like there, because it showed you where they played it from, via online there or whatever. And then it also come with a really cool Blackened 2020 slip mat for your turntable.
I saw that.
Yep. So that is pretty cool, and that's the only thing new that I have to add it to my collection here. But I did want to since it's a little late in the thing. It's actually in the Reload era, but the reason I'm talking about it is because it has some Load songs on it. And this is a VHS from back in the day. Some of y'all younger generation may not know what that is, but it's an actual, that's what it looks like. To me, it looks like a giant cassette tape. Really.
Right.
But anyway, it's got Bleeding Me and King Nothing on it from Load. And this was a show they done at the Core Estates Complex parking lot, Philadelphia, PA, November 11th, 1997. And it would come in one of those fan cans that they used to do once a year or something. And I hated they quit doing those because I loved them. But anyway, that just had some I wanted to show that because it had some Load songs on there.
Nice. And before we get into there, I had mentioned that I had the singles. So here's Until It Sleeps 1.
Yep.
Until It Sleeps 2. This is the one I was talking about that had the Kill Ride medley. I absolutely love that.
Nice.
We have Mama Said 1, Mama Said 2, and a lot of these have, you know, just like live versions of So What, demos and stuff. I got King Nothing.
Oh, sweet.
And I got Hero of the Day 1 and 2. These were very special to me at the time they were coming out, because this is before eBay and everything, and I just remember going crazy trying to find these because they had the Motorache songs that weren't available anywhere else. So I remember just instantly loving those Motorhead songs. And I was actually listening to this yesterday a little bit. This is it's called Devil's Dance, but it was from the Load tour. They busted out Devil's Dance before. It's kind of that weird time in between where they would do some, but it's the only live show I got from this time. And it's funny, they have track 5 is Leading Me. I'm sure it's just a misprint. So it's kind of funny to see that, but that sounds very good.
Cool.
So
just out of curiosity, right quick, what's on the what songs are on the Load one there? I mean, not Load, the Mama Said one.
Okay, let me see here. I just flipped them over. Okay, Mama Said 1, which is in black here, has So What Live from 96, Creeping Death Live from 96, and a demo of Mama Said.
Okay.
And then disc 2 is the track, and then King Nothing Live, Whiplash Live, and then the edited version of Mama Said.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've got the black version of it there.
Yeah.
First, I didn't know these they had a 2.
All of these, except for the ones from Death Magnetic, all these CD singles are pretty fair price on eBay. Oh, nice. I like them. I just like to collect them and stuff. So part 2 of Load, and I just want to say a shout out to one of our big fans, Chris Knotts in Texas. He has been bugging me and anxiously awaiting for part 2 of this. So, Chris, this one's dedicated to you, buddy. Thanks for your patience.
And thank you for watching our podcast. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. He's a cool dude.
Yep.
All right, part 2 of Load.
Absolutely.
We kind of did our kind of a pre-talk into it, and we'll go through our tracks and then summarize the album here. We ended up having Cure as the first song that we're going to talk about today. Yep. I'll let you go into that one first.
Okay. So side, if you going by the vinyl, we are kicking off side 2 here, and the first song is Cure. This song is really it's really kind of unique. It's cool. It has just this really kind of I don't know, just this vibe to it, man. And like every time, it's one of those songs that gets stuck in your head, because every now and then I'll catch myself walking around going, everyone's got the sickness because everyone seems to need the cure, you know. And it's just like, you know, it has that. It's almost like something you would see in like a zombie movie or something, you know, because it's just, or What? And I think it's funny because if you think about it, fast forward all these years now to COVID and all that stuff, and it's we're talking about the vaccine and all that stuff. So it kind of, it's almost kind of like I don't know, like a foreshadowing or something. But no, it's just a groovy song, man, and it just has a lot of good, cool hooks to it, and it's not really real fast paced. It's kind of a mid tempo kind of upbeat song or whatever, and it's just killer, man. And James, his vocals and everything on it, it's just there's nothing I can say bad about the song. And I do wanted to say though that I noticed that the second part of this record sort of kind of where like your first part of the record kind of was like first three songs were kind of heavy, and then it just sort of kind of like went down a little bit. And these last like 7 songs, if you want to say, or whatever, they just kind of take you on a different journey than the first 7 really did.
Yeah. I listened to this one again today. I listened to the whole album, and man, this album is just so good. Like songs like The Cure really don't get, and a lot of people don't like. I was listening to a podcast today about it. A lot of people aren't big into a lot of these songs on Load and Reload, and Cure is one of those songs that, I mean, you mentioned groovy and catchy. It's one of those songs that it just stand out to me. This is a go-to, it's a cool era. I mean, if you're wanting it to sound like Battery and Dyer's Eve, it doesn't. I mean, if you're looking for a cool, catchy, hooky, track. I mean, I love The Cure. I think it, like you said, I find myself singing it, and we're going to get to another one, Wasting My Hate, here in a couple minutes. But there's several songs that are on these 2 albums, Load and Reload, that are totally skipped over and forgotten. And I think they're every bit as good as 80% of Black. So I dig The Cure absolutely a lot. I think it's a very solid track.
Oh yeah.
And James' vocal sounds great on it. So that's a good one.
Oh,
all right, up next is another one that's not liked a lot that I dig it, and it's Poor Twisted Me. There is and I don't know whether you've ever heard it, there's an acoustic version. It's during the same session for the Tuesdays Gone for Garage Inc. And they've got harmonica and stuff in it. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's you can find it on YouTube. It's very bluesy, kind of. I don't know how to describe it, but that made me fall in love with this song. I really like it. I think it really sounds good acoustic with harmonica as well. It's one of those songs that unfortunately is just kind of buried around other great songs, but I dig it. I think Poor Twisted Me. I mean, is it, Blackened? No, but it's a solid song. What are your thoughts of Poor Twisted Me?
Well, actually, I've always been a big fan of this song, and back when I was, when I had first moved out of my home and everything, on my parents' house and everything, and I got my own place, I had this big giant Metallica poster on my door, and it had "Poor Touring Me" on it or whatever. And I guess it might have been one of the legs of the Metallica Load tour or whatever. But this song, man, has always just been kind of one of those songs that, it was funny, going back and listening to this record again. This was one of the songs that I really found a new love for again. Just by, listening to this record, because I just forgotten how good the song really was. And just like the Cure, that I find myself going every now and then, oh, poor twisted me, because it's just that way he sings these songs on this record.
His delivery on those is very specific. It's very good. Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and then like I said, it's nothing like, is it, like anything that'll blow your mind? No. But they're just great songs and they don't have to be. And I think that the problem with the people is, and I'll be honest with you, it's these songs get overlooked because of the time and the era in which this album came out. And I honestly do believe, and maybe I should wait for this towards the end of the thing, but I do honestly believe that some of these songs would really have a different look upon people if this album came out in 2021 or 2022. I think people would look at these songs a lot different. And like I said, this whole album, especially a lot of the songs on side two, really get overlooked and people don't even mention them. And I say this, maybe this is the best part of the record.
I mean, there's definitely an argument for that exact thing. Wasted My Hate. Your turn to go first on this one.
Wasting My Hate. Now this song, it kind of it's weird. It has this kind of slow intro, just like wasting my hate on you. This kind of little thing, and then man, it just like goes from that, and then it just like goes into this solid, like just grooving, fucking like up tempo kind of like really rocker song, and it kind of it kind of like says, okay, because you had Cure and Poor Twisted Me, and they kind of had this kind of mid-tempo groove, and then now it's like, okay, we're gonna show you that on the second side of this, we're gonna throw down a little bit. And that's what I love about Wasting My Hate on Me. And the like I said again, the lyrics ain't nothing, to be right home about, but it's the delivery, the music, it's just everything that you would want in a good song. And what can like I said, what can I say bad about it? Nothing. Another solid track.
Wasting My Hate is probably a sleeper for me on this album. I like the little intro, like you said, it's kind of different, and then it definitely, the song when I listened to it today, it reminded me of like an updated, groovier, greasier, holier than now once it started going. And man, this is timestamp wise, this is a cool song for that era. I really enjoy the song. I don't listen to it and say this is good for load. I say this is good. Of course, I'm not a load hater, so I think it's a solid track. Every time this randomly came on my song or on my playlist, I'm digging the crap out of it.
Yep.
I totally dig the groove, and it's just it's catchy, groovy. I like it.
Oh yeah.
That's going to bring us to our next track, Mama Said.
Mm-hmm.
I do like some country music. I'm not a big fan of like Skynyrd and a lot of Southern rock, but it's got kind of a Waylon Jennings kind of meets Leonard Skynyrd feel to it. And I mean, the steel guitar and stuff, I get, there's people that don't like that kind of music. I get it. So throwing in one of the best vocalists in the world, they kind of experimented and went bluesy country, Southern rocky, and kind of, I mean, it's not that far of a departure from The Unforgiven just a few years earlier. I don't think. I mean, I don't listen to it and go, it's not like it came right after Kill 'Em All. I mean, Unforgiven was pretty close. And I think it's catchy. I like it. I think it's got good harmonies in it. I think the guitar, I mean, they didn't do 12 songs like that, so I think it was a good song. I like it a lot. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this. I love the song, and I am a country music fan, and I do listen to a lot of country, but I listen to more of the outlaw country stuff, more like Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, those guys like Chris Christopherson. And a lot of people don't know this, but James Hetfield was a really big Waylon Jennings fan, and he was influenced by Waylon a lot. And I actually
Sure.
have a box set of Waylon Jennings where it's got a picture of him and James Hetfield in there together. So,
Well, James also covered Outlaw Bit too
yep,
for a Waylon Jennings tribute, which
sure
I think
did.
sounds great.
I do too. And but I love this song because and even some people can consider it a country song, and you can at that. It never like landed on country radio or anything like that. Um, but it's a cool acoustic song with some guitars in it here, some steel guitars in it and stuff like that. Um, and I tell you what, man, I love where they went with that on here because it's a chance. It was kind of a risky song to do, but you hear people see. Here's the funny thing nowadays: if a band, and I'm talking about like a big band, and maybe like a thrash band. Like I'll give you an example. If Iron Maiden was to come out today and guess what, guys, we're gonna just out here for the fans, just for something crazy. We're gonna pick 6 songs and do an acoustic EP. People would eat that up, man. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They would. So my whole thing is like, what is the difference between you got one song on an album that has all these really great songs on it, and so it does sound a little country, a little western, a little whatever, southern rock. And people can say what they want to. James was influenced by a lot of bands like that because he did a cover of Leonard Skinner on Garage Inc. So, I mean, so you gotta look at it that you gotta look at it this way too. And the lyrics are awesome. The way James sings it, it's not like he was out there trying to sing this song with like a country twang accent or something other. No, he did it in James Hetfield style, and the music is it's slower, it's trimmed down, it's got a lot of acoustic in it, and I don't care what people say, I love it, and it's a great song. And I say this, but Mama, and if you really look at it, what's the difference between Mama Said and Nothing Else Matters?
I was just going to ask you, Bill, do you think with the success of Nothing Else Matters Off the Black that it opened up the door for them to experiment more as far as something totally off their grid?
Yeah, I do. Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the last single off the Black album?
See, I'm bad about remembering the order of them. I remember all of them hitting MTV, but I remember that Sandman was first, but I don't remember the order.
It was Sandman. I think it was Sandman, Unforgiven, Sad But True. And I think it was
Rome's in there too. I forget.
I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Nothing Else Matter was kind of towards the end of the album run, and it was the last single they put out. So and it was a huge success. So I do believe that had part of them going, hey, let's do something like Nothing Else Matters, but a little bit more stripped down. And really, I mean,
yeah, I have no problem with the experimental stuff that they did, and we're going to get more into that. And here's a spoiler: our next episodes, we're going to go ahead and go straight to Reload, since we're in the mood here for this kind of thing. But I totally have no problem with the experimental. I mean, they kind of backed off of it on future releases, but these two were definitely experimental for sure.
yep.
In a good way, not a Lulu way.
No.
So, Thorn Within. you can go into that one first.
Oh man, The Thorn Within. I don't know what to say, man. Thorn Within is just a great song, man. It's almost like a father talking to a son, and it's almost actually, if you kind of want to look at it, I don't want to get religious on people, but it's almost kind of like a a person talking to God in a way, and it's like, I'm the thorn within, and forgive me, Father, for what I have done. It's like a son asking for forgiveness for the things that he's done in life, but and in that he's the thorn within because he's like the thorn in a lot of people's side. Maybe he's an outcast, an outlaw. Maybe his way of thinking and the way he lives his life is not a way a lot of people would look at it, and so to a lot of people he's maybe just a nuisance to people. And I love this song, man, and the way they do it, and just kind of has that kind of poor twisted me kind of groove in it, kind of, and it just goes along, man. And I love the lyrics in this song. It's really great, and I'm not gonna go ahead and spoil it for these people. These last three songs on this album are killer. I mean, I don't care what people say. Um, people have their opinion, but Thumb Within, man, is one of the songs I pick up when I listen to this record. Even if I don't listen to a handful of songs on it, this one and is one of the ones I always play because it's just such a killer song. And um, I don't know what you feel about it, but that's how I feel about it.
Thorn Within is one of those that, I mean, if you hear people talk about Load, it seems like that's never one of the forefronts. And it's so stinking good. I was listening to it today and I forgot how groovy it was. And there's a part in there, one of the rhythms, and it's a sign of the times for sure. But do you remember the STP song "Sex Type" thing?
I think so, yeah.
And it's that I said I want, that do do
Yeah.
do do do. I mean, that sounds exactly like that. And I was like, that sounds like STP when I was listening to it today. And it's, I mean, a lot of people refer this to as kind of like the Alice in Chains grunge era album. It's a product of its time, but it's stamped Metallica much more than it is grunge. And it's it's part of a 3-song trilogy that's almost like sister songs for me on this album, and that's Bleeding Me, Thorn Within, and Outlaw Torn. That's like these mid-tempo just builders that
Hmm.
I just love and that make this album so great. So I'm a huge Thorn Within fan, and I think it's catchy. It's I like you said, the lyrics with the breakdowns where he's almost, like I said, you can interpret it however you want. Maybe somebody's praying, or maybe somebody's just asking their physical father. James leaves a lot of his lyrics to where you could just apply it to however you want. And I think it's solid. I mean, if I was at a show and they went into that riff, I would be like, heck yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't think they've ever played that one live.
I don't think they have either.
So Thorn Within is I dig the crap out of it. And I totally agree with you. These the last 3 songs, if you're going by record, the last side 4 or the second B side of the second album, I love them all. And that leads us to Ronnie. And Ronnie is catchy as shit. I just dig the whole, I like it. I don't know how to label it. It's catchy, groovy, funky. It's topical. It's, of course, it's about this guy Ronnie who went to school and shot some stuff that he shouldn't, and it doesn't glamorize it. It's just telling a story, and I love it. What's your thoughts of Ronnie?
I love this song. I remember the first time I heard this song, and I was like, "Wow, that is different," and "Wow, that is so cool." And Ronnie is one of those songs like I'll catch myself listening to Ronnie because I love that part. He goes, he pulled the gun from the pocket and they all fall down, down, down. And the way he does that, it's just so. I mean, this song, man, and I'm going to say this: this song is different from any song on the record. It is just,
Maybe their
I
entire
don't know.
catalog.
Yeah, it's just a song that is just like. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think these last three songs could have been a single easy during that time period. More so than maybe some of the singles we did get. But I can understand why they didn't release it as a single because the content of the song in a way. But
Right.
it's just a great song, man. And you find yourself listening to it, and you know, I think it's playlist worthy for me. It just it's just a killer track, and it's I love that it has that hook in it. Um, that familiar hook like Bleeding Me has. It just
Right.
has that because like when you've always saw them when they would always show like on Behind the Music or whatever, when they would show like the making a load, that was that little bit that they would always play. You heard music wise, and it was from Ronnie or whatever. And it's just so cool. And like I said, this song is one of the most underrated songs on this album. And I don't know if it's ever been played live either, but if
I
not, they need to.
I think it's been kind of jammed and teased, but they've never actually played it.
Okay.
I looked it up the other day, a list of what songs that hasn't been played yet, and you could find that. And there's a handful of them. It starts at Load because they've played Kill 'Em All and Ride and Puppets and Black All in its entirety on different shows, and I think they've just done Injustice over the years here and there. So I
Yeah.
think Load is the first album. I think House that Jack built is on that list, and Thorn Within, maybe Ronnie. So I mean, there's a few on here that was never
Yeah.
played live, and hopefully, I don't see Metallica doing a tour where they do the whole Load album. Maybe they'll do like a one-off kind of in their studio thing and release it or something. That would be cool. But yeah, Ronnie is cool to me. I have no problem, nodding to Ronnie. I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
And the last one of the evening is Outlaw Torn. Bill, I'll let you go into that one first.
Okay. Now, the Outlaw Torn is probably my favorite song off the Load record. Okay. This song has always been a staple for me. This song has um when I first heard this record, this song, like, I had mixed feelings about it. And then one day I sat down and I listened to it and I was like, wow, this song, it really is just out of this world fucking great. You know, and I fell in love with the song, and I just and I'll find myself all the time, man, playing the Outlaw Torn. And the funny thing about it is that's actually my that's actually the name of my Xbox Live account, the Outlaw Torn.
Nice.
And so So yeah, I love this song, man, and it harkens back to, like you said, like Load, like with like Bleeding Me, The Thorn Within, and The Outlaw Torn. Um, those songs are to me are staple songs for this record. You couldn't have found a better, I think, a better song to close this record. The only disappointment I have for this song is there's a version of it out there that has that extra little bit of time on it or whatever it is that was cut off because of the
Yep.
album having to be, cut down or whatever because it was going to go over. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I love this song, and I just it. I mean, the lyrics are really kind of simple. They're not really, but I love that one part when he goes, when you when you find me something other and you see me strut, remind of what made this outlaw, what left this outlaw torn. And I don't know, man. It's just those little things, and I love that part. He says, when you tear me open, stitch me together, or whatever, man. There's just some lines in here, man. There's songs that if you've gone through some things in your life, man, and you've been to the bottom and back up again. I mean, this song has some things in there that just like, yeah, this song speaks to me, and so if as long as this album exists in the world, and long as I can play Metallica, this song will always be within probably one of my top 10 songs on any Metallica playlist.
Um, Outlaw Torn is absolutely my favorite song off the album. I remember liking it. I mean, like when Load came out, I never skipped a track off of it, even back when it came out. But I remember liking it, and to me, when it went next level is when they played it on S&M, and I remember seeing the set list to that before I got the album and saying, "Well, that was kind of a weird selection. I'm surprised that they did that. That's a pretty deep cut with, there's some omissions from S&M which we'll get into, like, No Fade to Black." And there's, some other songs that they could have put in there. And then I heard it, and then it's like, to me, the S&M version just took it to superstar status, and it really made me fall in excuse me, and fall in love with the song. And it's I call it the sister songs of this album. This and Bleeding Me are 1 and 2 for me, and they're just so good. Some people hate the length of them. I'm an Iron Maiden fan. Song lengths don't bother me. It's the lyrics are good. His voice is so good on it that it's just not even funny, and it's got the heaviness that I want in a Metallica song, and it's got everything I want. So I mean, this is an absolute epic way to end the album, and I don't get that there's people that don't like this album. I just don't get it. There's so much good stuff there. But what was your thoughts on the S&M version? Was it the same? Do you like it better, worse, or what are your thoughts on that?
I liked it. And truth is, it's been a while since I've heard it, and I need to go back. That's an album I have been wanting to revisit here because I have the new S&M album, and I love it, man. There's some songs on there that I thought, man, I was like, why did they choose that song? But now I understand it. Now I get why they done it. And especially, and I'm just going to say, one of the dark horses on that record is All Within My Hands.
Oh, they totally took a song that was almost a throwaway to a lot of people and escalated it so good.
Mm-hmm. And so I got to go back and revisit that again. I want to, and I may one day just throw in the the DVD version of it, play it, and then just kind of revisit it because when I saw the lineup for this album, and I was kind of like you, and I was kind of like, why did they choose these songs? But I understand why they done them, and I really honestly I feel that some of the songs they chose fit better than maybe some of the songs you may not would have chose, which is you thought that they would have chose, and so yeah, but I do want to go back and revisit it. But it is either way they play this song, whether it's on the album or it's live by itself or live with an orchestra. The song is just killer, and if people don't like the Outlaw Torn, then you just don't like good music. I hate to say it.
Did you get the S&M2 box set?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
I like having the CD and the Blu-ray and the vinyl all there in one set. That's a cool deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, Outlaw Torn is just an outstanding way to end the album. Let's kind of talk about. We just talked about our favorite track of the album. What would you say your least favorite track is on here?
Least favorite?
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's hard, isn't it?
I don't know how to say it, and the people will probably knock me for this. It might be Hero of the Day. I mean, it's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't find myself listening to that song as much as I would some of the others.
If I had to absolutely pick one, it would probably be. God, there's so many good songs on here. I'd probably pick 2x4. And it's kind of like, you got to put something last. It would probably be my least favorite of the ones. I mean, that tells you how strong that I think the album is.
I could agree with that. That's why I was going to say, like, if I had a runner-up, that would probably be it too. I mean, like I said, I guess, and really, I would have to say that Hero of the Day, maybe I think is, and the reason I say that it's more of a mood song for me. I have to be in a mood to hear it.
Right.
Yeah. It's just not one I can put on and play.
It's kind of weird I know I mentioned that with Bleeding Me, but I love the Hero of the Day version on S&M also.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded very, very good on S&M 1. So I forget, did we talk about the artwork in the first episode? I forget, buddy.
I don't think we did, to be honest with you. But hey, we can always revisit it right quick.
I don't mind it. I couldn't imagine it being anything else at this point. Like if they used I don't know, like I know what it is. It's not gross to me. The colors are kind of cool. It's kind of, art like.
Yep.
It doesn't bother me. I think it's a cool cover. The new Metallica logo doesn't bother me on there. As you can see it on the top of our podcast there. It was the introduction to the Metallica stars on the back. I like that. It's iconic. I couldn't imagine another cover. What are your thoughts on the cover?
It doesn't bother me easy. Actually, though, I'll be honest with you. Maybe this is naive and just kind of being maybe not so bright at the time when this album come out. It almost looks like one of those things. It almost looks like a lava kind of like thing, like where it's almost like you know how you see like you lower something down on a lava pit or like a melting or a molten kind of thing, and you get it coming up and stuff like that. Sometimes it almost kind of represents that, almost kind of like
absolutely.
And so I guess if you really didn't know what it was, you could kind of say that's what it is. And so, I mean, it don't bother me. I don't care. It's an album cover. I've seen worse.
Now, and I get them mixed up. Which one is one's blood and urine, one's blood and semen, right?
I think this is blood and semen. I think.
We'll have to, if you know, put it in the in the comments. By the time we get to the reload, I'll have to do my homework and figure out which one's which. I know that that's what it is, and like you said, it doesn't look like that. It's kind of a cool lava-like picture.
Yeah.
And Metallica is never one to just be the forefront with just 4 pictures of the guys on the cover.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it.
Me either.
What are your final thoughts on this album, buddy?
My final thoughts on this record is a great record, and I don't understand why, till this day, that this album gets so much hate. Yes, was it different from the Black Album? Was it different from anything Metallica had done before? Yes, it was. But you have to understand something. People evolve in life. They evolve in their personal life. They evolve in their anything in life. They do. And this was an evolvement for Metallica. You think about it. They just come off the road from being here, right? And when the Black Album, when Sandman hit radio, Metallica went here into stardom. I mean, they just blew up being the greatest metal band. I mean, the biggest metal band of all time. Okay. And you come, I hate to say this. I don't know that you could put any, or maybe the only album that I could put up next to the Black Album, and it would hold its own. Well, actually, 2 records would have been Death Magnetic and Hardwired. Okay, that would at least give it a run for its money. Okay, now does that mean that anything they've done in between them albums aren't good? No, they're different records. They're different times. You have to think about something, and this is what I don't want to go lengthy into this, but the mid '90s when this came out, metal was kind of on a free fall. Kind of grunge was coming in. You had these different styles of music coming in or whatever, and people might say, "Oh, well, this is Metallica's sold out time for the record for the 8." Actually, really, not really, because if you think about some of these songs were kind of futuristic in here. Some of these songs were kind of ahead of their time in a way. Some of them were, and some of them not, and some of them are dated for the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And to be honest with you, what is the difference between Load and some of the records that some of these artists have put out? And like, you want to knock Mama Said for being like an acoustic song, but yet you're not mad when one of your favorite bands out here puts out an acoustic record. Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got to admit, like you think with Nirvana, for instance, that Unplugged record, a lot of people love that record. Thinks it's one of the best Nirvana records out there. Right. Okay. So what's wrong with that? I mean, that's what I don't get about people. They wanted to hate on Metallica for the simple reason they cut their hair. But y'all's people that hated on Metallica for cutting their hair, you hated them on the Black Album tour, at least the second part of it, because Jason had cut his hair long before the other 3 guys did. So what's the difference?
And here's something I noticed the other day, and I know when you're on top, a lot of people like to take jabs and try to knock you down. I was listening to an album ranking the other day, and I watch all kinds of that stuff, so I can't pinpoint what it was. But they talked about how they didn't like Load because it was such a departure from their sound. And then when they got to Death Magnetic, they said they didn't like it because they were trying to sound like their old days. So you've got people that don't like it because they try new stuff, and then those same people, if you make the same exact record as last time, they'll say that we've already got that, or they're just trying to sound like Injustice. I mean, there's going to be haters of whatever they do, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that's with any band. But I mean, I enjoy this shit out of this record. I mean, I look at it here, and are these songs that are normally in the same conversation as Creeping Death and Whiplash? Probably not to a lot of people, but I lived this time as a Metallica fan, and I remember being so excited to get this, and so excited for Cunning Stunts when I was excited, just as excited when Cunning Stunts came out as I was Live Shit Binge and Purge.
Yep.
I mean, I bought it. The first copy I bought was on cassette. I mean, VHS. So I mean, I was super excited when it came out. I didn't say this is, they were still my Metallica then. They weren't, I'm settling for it, or it's okay for this period, or I was excited as shit.
Yep. Well, I'm going to say this, man, and I know this is probably going to ruffle the feathers of a lot of people, and I don't care. But Metallica could turn around today and then do an exact recording of Master of Puppets. I mean, you could put out an album that almost sound like Master of Puppets, and someone would hate on it. And most people consider Master of Puppets Metallica's greatest record. Some people consider it the greatest metal record of all time. But you could and there's people out here that would say, oh, well, they're just trying to put out another Master of Puppets because blah blah blah. Well, make your mind up, dude. Do you want Master of Puppets or not? That's the thing that I try to make people understand. You can't do 100 Master of Puppets because eventually people are going to get tired of hearing it.
Well, and also, most people aren't going to write the same riffs that they're going to write when they're 18 as they are when they're 45. I mean, that's in any genre.
Yep.
I mean, they've evolved, and do they at this point, you got to think of how hard it was to follow up Black. Think of the pressure that they had for the loyalists, for and I can't fault them for wanting to make money and sell records. You know what I'm saying? I don't listen to this album and say, man, that's a slower song, because it's a great song.
Yep.
Now, this is also the second album in a row with Bob Rock. I think sonically this sounds phenomenal. Are you happy with the production of this one?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's I've never had a problem with any of the Metallica records have sounded. I think and I'll say this, Saint Anger was produced by Bob Rock, and I have no problems with it. I mean, I just it's just Bob Rock was a master for what he done for the time that they were with him, and he made their albums. He put Metallica to a different thing, and he made their albums sound really great. And that was, and that was that's what his job was, and that's what he done. And I'll fault none of the way any of these records sound, because they just, I don't know, they just sound great to me. So
Yeah, I love the production of Load and Reload. And everybody's heard of stories about how it was going to originally be a double album, and then they decided to do two. And I've heard that it's not that they thought the Load songs were better; it's just those were the ones that were done first. And we're gonna get into the Reload songs here in our next episode. But I think production wise, I think this is definitely a cool time for James Hetfield vocals. I think just
Mhm.
he's getting into some melodies and things with his voice that continues to grow even for the future albums.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna as far as James Hetfield as a singer, I just want to say on this record, it really proved and it really showed that James had a dynamic feel and he could sing just about anything he wanted to and he could pull it off. It wasn't just Sandman and sad but true kind of vocals and you know anything he done in the albums before that. He really proved that yeah, I can sing just about anything I want to. For those people who think I can't, listen to this. And so,
right. This was a fun one. I probably listened to this album probably 20 times in its entirety just in the last month just to get ready for it.
oh yeah,
And I like it even more than I did 2 months ago.
yep.
This was definitely not a chore.
Yep. Well, like I said, and I'll say this again. This is a great record, and I recommend this record to anyone that wants to get into Metallica. And you know, it's an album that stands on its own. Great songs on it, and you know, I've got nothing bad to say about the record. I really don't. I mean, I know there's people probably out there want me to bash it and all that stuff. I can't. And I bought this album in a time of my life when, you know, I was, you know, in a relation, in a period of my life where I was searching for some different things. And so yeah, I mean, I can't hate on this record at all. Not one bit. And so, yep. That's all I got to say.
Nice. Okay, as we're wrapping up here, just a couple minutes left. We try to keep all these episodes around an hour.
Yep.
We're going to be doing Reload on our next episode. That'll be a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you're part of any metal groups or whatever, feel free to share our episodes. Spread the word. We'd appreciate it.
Yep.
And anybody watching, we appreciate you watching.
Yep. And thank you for supporting us. Thank you for all you do. And even the smaller comments or just saying, you know, great episode really means a lot. And so, yeah, and we do this for the enjoyment because we love Metallica and love their music. And so that's it. That's all I think. And like I said, this has been a two-parter. And I got a feeling that most of these probably will be a two-parter. But and that's cool because it kind of gives you time to expand it out and talk about a lot of different things. And so,
Right.
all right. I want to say thanks.
Good hanging out with you today, Bill. We'll see you soon, buddy.
All right, Chuck. You too, buddy.
Metal lives.
That's right. Metal lives.